They say that money makes the world go round, and I think it's the market infrastructure players that make sure it goes in the right direction. So we're joined by two CEOs, Nortje from Straight, as well as Stephen Linnell from Bank South Africa. Thanks, guys, for joining us and for joining the panel previously with Michael Avery. It was quite an interesting conversation. I think it steered into some interesting perspectives. For you guys, as part of the industry and a part of the fundamental kind of infrastructure, what are some of the big topics that you're seeing come up and in the industry, and things like interoperability? I mean, Andre, you mentioned it in terms of connecting a lot of these players across Africa. What are some of the challenges and opportunities that you guys are seeing in your space?
Should I go first? Okay. For us, as a financial market infrastructure with a fairly big market share in most of the capabilities that we currently support the market with, our main thrust and thinking is how can we leverage this infrastructure to enable growth in South Africa, right? And we certainly have got a very strong belief system that the capabilities that Straight, together with its extended ecosystem, has got, can be leveraged not only in the public markets but also in the private markets to actually help facilitate capital formation and therefore growth, right? So in the private markets, traditionally it's been banks that provide support in terms of capital, and capital raising is from an equity perspective is very difficult. But I think through our infrastructure capability that we've got, and if we add other capabilities around our infrastructure, like for example issuer sponsorship services, right? Then you can do balance sheet optimization, you can create the capital market instruments, and you can actually, through our existing infrastructure and access points, give real capital access to those opportunities that doesn't exist today. We believe that's a huge opportunity. Like I said in the panel session, we think that capitalization of private markets in South Africa is, let's say, 20 trillion, right? That's 20 trillion of value that could be 40 trillion, right? By just potentially thinking about optimization around balance sheet and access to capital. So we think the growth story is beyond, sort of macroeconomics and beyond policy, beyond. We think there are some structural things in South Africa that we can help adjust that actually helps give access, and people will work it out, right, in terms of how they grow.
Yeah, it's that opportunity that is existing right now that you can tap into.
Yeah.
So Stephen, more on the payment side and clearing, what are some of those things that you're seeing that are exciting you in the future?
I think one interesting observation, having listened to Andre in the last panel, is obviously much of his focus is in the capital market space, and mine tends to be more on the retail side. And they seem to be going through slightly different waves at the moment. So in the capital market space, a lot of it is around connecting various pools of liquidity, connecting asset owners to investors, the CSD links you spoke about, the African Stock Exchange program. Whereas I think payments globally, and indeed South Africa, there tends to be a trend at this stage around sovereignty. And so there's a lot of investment into building domestic market infrastructure to solve sort of domestic problems and mitigate potential sovereign risks, let's say a global economy that tends to be pulling more into themselves. So we're probably on a different phase of that journey. But I guess what's most important around that is both, I think, are trying to solve for domestic issues at the moment. For us, it's around sort of mobilization of fiat at all points in the economy, and it's a digitization play. It's how do we lift SA out of cash-driven environment into an electronic payments mechanism for all the sort of move up the banking value chain drivers behind it. And the same is true in the capital market space, where you need that mobility of security and digital capabilities to be able to move assets and securities around the economy too. So I guess similar problems, going for the same goal, but approaching it at different phases in that cycle.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think we quickly skidded past the T+0, something that maybe that's a bit of a pipe dream. But I think it was a fantastic conversation, and I'm looking forward to hopefully inviting you guys or having you guys back at the GIBS conference in 2026.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Cheers.